fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Dead bunker along the beach at Manasquan, the quote, scene of the crime, end quote. Last week's video forecast and an homage of sorts to Arlo Guthrie and the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, Alice's Restaurant. Now, a buddy of mine who opted for a turkey hoagie last Thursday instead of the traditional trimmings said he found a mess of bass in Belmar. Then came this, the day after Black Friday, the Black Friday Blitz of 2021, it would seem. I found him at Spring Lake just after sunup, then went down to the Manasquan Pocket with 100 or so of my buddies, everyone hooking up. That's all striped bass, my friends, and the hapless bunker that we're feasting on. A rather Hitchcockian scene. The birds and the Black Friday Blitz, it stretched south of Manasquan to Bay Head, Lavalette, down into the park. It was north to Belmar, a movable feast of sorts. Striped bass madness at the Jersey Shore. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman Magazine. Yes, burning spots along the way, but that was then, this is now. And these bunker schools that popped up there are now popping up in other places. So yeah, I'm feeling like burning spots is okay with this movable feast, because they're there one day, gone the next, and this bass madness, this mayhem is moving at a pretty rapid clip. An insane afternoon bite for a lot of people. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday, where the action was hot and heavy at Ortley Beach. I ended up middle north end of Lavalette, bass blowing up in front of me, guy next to me hooking up on every cast. I struggled for a while. So sometimes it's just as frustrating throwing baits at blitzing bass as it is throwing at nothing, blind casting. But again, pack your bag with a lot of different stuff, a lot of different colors. You got a lot of the whites, you got a lot of the darks, the metal lips, the pencils, the Polaris poppers, and of course, the swim shads. I did speak to Greg Cudnick as everybody was enjoying that Ortley Beach, that northern Ocean County stretch. Greg Cudnick from Fisherman's headquarters in Ship Bottom said, yeah, we got him here too. Harvey Cedars, a customer looking for bait and sinkers on Monday, and he was out of bait after a long weekend. He said, dude, go north, take the artificials, don't worry about the bait. He did, came back arm weary and said, hey, thanks for the advice. Then on Tuesday, I spoke to Greg again. He said, Surf City, that's the place to be. So you get what I'm saying here? You gotta stick and move, and you gotta pay attention. And you might want to sneak a glance at the surfer's view and all those various cameras along the beach. So Bass and Bunker, they jumped the inlet at Barnegat and they arrived here along the Long Beach Island beaches. I'm at the north end right now and I've been watching birds. I got here and it was mayhem behind me and folks hooking up, but these birds are moving on the pods of Bunker and the schools of bass that are following them. They could pop up at any time. In fact, you could be looking over my shoulder and you may be seeing people hook up, seeing fish roll behind me. But hey, I'm a professional, man. I got to focus on the video. I can't fish just yet. But anyway, Long Beach Island, it has kind of really turned on. In fact, the screen grab from the Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Classic website, LBISFC, it shows that a lot more stripers have been caught since Sunday, and look at that. The mix is entirely on those artificial swim shads, metal lips, some people just writing lures. I see Ava jig in there as well, but the poppers. But artificial certainly the ticket when those bass are blowing up on Bunker. So I know you're in Brigantine, Atlantic City, Ventnor, Sea Isle, Wildwood. Are these fish on the way to Cape May? You won't know if you're not there to intercept them, but if they do, get to your town quickly. It could be a quick hitter. Wait, a 5-day stretch of amazing fishing in northern Ocean County. Could be all week here. Could be another week in Brigantine. Who knows how long this will last? But in terms of Bunker nosing up against the wind and putting themselves in a position to get pinned up along the beach, things are looking good for this stretch and for South Jersey surfcasters in the next few days. The midweek forecast from NOAA Weather has those offshore winds continuing. It's Wednesday, just a little bit before sundown, and it's blowing southwest. The next couple of days, we're looking at northwest and westerlies. That's through Saturday. So I'm pretty confident at this point, with those Bass and Bunker jumping the inlet and moving in tight, that who knows, down along Brigantine into Atlantic County and as well in Cape May County. I'm hoping you'll get them at your feet, just as we've had them in other parts of the state of New Jersey. So are there more bass to come? Well, I spoke to Phil at the tackle box in Hazlitt. Speaking about the Raritan Bay, he says, for sure. Quote, bass all over the bay and ocean up here. So yeah, I think there's more stripers to come. And perhaps even after this peanut bunker move through, perhaps we'll get that sand eel bite for December. Chris here, going to do a little wrap-up of a couple of the catches, but he managed a 36-incher in the Belmar Blitz on Friday, tight-roping the pipe to reach fish just outside of casting distance from the beach. Good thing Chris is a lifeguard managing that pipe. You ever walk on one of those pipes? I advise you not to do the one in Point Pleasant. I've busted my hump once. That's enough. I bumped into Bobby Norgard, one of the Fisherman contributors, on Saturday. So yeah, pencils in that melee, the swim shads, the metal lips. I would recommend, if you're throwing those lures with trebles, take down the barbs for a couple of different reasons. First of all, if you're getting into blitz conditions, it's a lot easier to release a fish and get back into the action so you can get a few more casts before those fish move off. The other thing is, if you've ever got a treble in your hand, having the barb, certainly not advisable. You wish you had it bent down. And again, when things are good and it's in tight, it's a great chance, a great opportunity for you to get the kids into plugging. Mindless blind casting where you're not getting any fish is one thing, but if you're in a mix, I mean, look at this. Scarlett here, she showed her dad how to do it with a metal lip. And look at her all decked out in her grumpy sweatshirt and hat. God bless her and her father. Oh, by the way, I spoke to Ray at Grumpy's. He's one of the several people speaking to this week who referred to last week's bite as biblical proportions. So that's just something to indicate. And as I'm watching these birds fly around, I'm hoping to see something biblical here. I would add as well that it's not just the peanut bunker, but there's some adult bunker in the mix as well. So don't think you have to scale down on everything. In fact, I've been throwing a teaser on, catching some fish on the teaser as well. There's hickory shad in the mix. And then I spoke to Paul at the Reel Seat earlier this week, and he said, yeah, there's some herring around as well. So maybe we'll get a movement of some jumbo stripers in the mix as well. So it's not just the unders, it's not just those schoolie size fish, it's not just those slots, but there's certainly some quality fish in the mix as well. I got a report, somebody catching a 46-incher on this stretch of beach in LBI sometime today. That's the middle of the week. So you're apt to find monsters in the mash too, which is why boaters, those of you who keep your boats in, good timing, because folks that are going offshore trying to match the hatch, you want to keep those spoons handy for a personal best. Staying in that boaters trend, to the north end of the state, I found out from Jake DeJulia, shared this image of a nice striper caught on a flutter spoon in the Reach Channel at Buoy 19. So maybe you're dragging the mojos and the Majas around until you find a pile of fish and then drop those Ben Parker flutter spoons or a heavy tsunami swim shad. When you get a pile of fish underneath you, look at that fish finder. To the south as well, Jim Stanella said he found them off of Absecon Inlet on Saturday. His quote to me was, "Big bass have moved into Atlantic City." Nice to hear. And yeah, we got that report this week, Wednesday morning, from Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle. Had this to say. He said his phone was blowing up, everybody was heading out. That's why you need to make sure you have all your gear prepped and ready to go. Don't be scrambling, whether you're on the boat or the surf. Make sure you have the plug bag, make sure you have your tackle box with spoons and mojos and the stretch plugs, whatever you need. If you get that word, you want to be able to jump on it as quickly as possible. Again, for you striper guys down in Cape May or along the Delaware coast, it could happen soon, and I sure hope it does. I spoke to Tommy at Lewes Harbor Marina on Monday. He said he's keeping an eye on the north, looking for the stripers to run down the Jersey coast, but his quote on Monday was, "Within a week, I hope," which at this point in the week, as you're watching this video forecast, that's a matter of days or a matter of hours. If we stick to the south side of the Garden State, Joe at Hands 2 Bait and Tackle, he said there's still plenty of good fish in the back bays behind Sea Isle City. And I say good, I'm talking 28 to 40 inch class fish. So those fish are back there still, and maybe there's still plenty of bunker and baits in the back. He also mentioned that the 8th Street Jetty in Avalon was still producing for guys looking to soak green crabs on some of those blackfish. Although I did talk to Tammy from Avalon Hodgepodge on Monday, and she said that blackfish bite at the jetty there was starting to slow up just a bit. Maybe as those fish start to feel this colder water and start pressing offshore a little bit. Offshore, the guys looking for jumbo sea bass are heading out to the deep structure. Think 30, 40 miles. Although if you're looking to load up on some black sea bass, I would think some of the New Jersey artificial reef sites in federal waters would work. And of course, you got those reef sites off of Delaware, which is where for the next month or two, a lot of the Cape May fleet and the Delaware fleet, the ones coming out of Indian River and Lewes, will be hitting those reef sites for tautog as well. In the north, the tautog action was inshore as of this past weekend, thinking at the Shrewsbury Rocks. Although I did speak to Jason at Fisherman Supply, and he said in addition to Shrewsbury Rocks, some guys were pressing a little farther out, finding them at the Shark River Reef site as well. And here's one more option for you. I know it's now officially December. It's winter for all intents and purposes. We've got bluefin in the mix. Heard from different folks chasing ghosts. They said they found them from the shipping lanes up north to out off of the central Jersey coast, off of Manasquan, 15, 18 miles. In fact, it was directly east of Manasquan where Dave Glassberg says his son Jake put the boots to one on Sunday. Top water bite, slider lure. He said, huge explosion, boom, fish on. You can see if you look right over Jake's shoulder there, there's our supply chain problem, one of those shipping containers just sitting out there waiting to come in. Hey, if you're interested in the prospect of gearing up for December bluefin, pick up the December edition of the Fisherman Magazine, the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition. It's out in newsstands now. It's in your local tackle shop, your Wawa. But on page 30, there's an article by Captain Jimmy Frieda of Shore Catch Sport Fishing to help you get geared up to chase some of those ghosts. Definitely an opportunity now, and with all this bait in the mix, you still have a shot to try to hook up with those bluefin tuna. The term people say is we're chasing ghosts. They're screaming along and they're hard to bite. They're hard to get bite, but I'll tell you what, that's what fishing's all about. It's worth it. But definitely a chill in the air here at the Jersey Shore. It's something that we needed, I think, to really get these bass and bunker moving along. I have heard of a couple of bluefish in the mix, and lo and behold, I've gotten a couple of reports of some redfish, not just taking chunks, but also taking lures as well. But that's here at the Jersey Shore. I see a little white stuff on the ground and in the trees out in Pennsylvania. For more on that, let's check in with George, our Pocono Outdoors guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, there's some ice and snow in the trees, and there's also some ice starting to develop in the local small farm ponds and even some of the lakes. Well, that's really a good sign because right now we're kind of caught in that awkward pattern between open water fishing and hard water fishing. So we need that couple of weeks now to get cross over into that full winter pattern. But it's good news because it means the water temperatures are already in the 30s, and the fish, well, they're starting to develop their pattern too. You know, we talked about how they were up in the shallows feeding on all those bait fish. With the water pushing into the 30s and starting to develop ice, they're going to move back into that deeper water down to around 10-15 feet where it's always about 55 to 60 degrees all year long, and that's where you're going to find most species. Now, always up in the shallows, you're going to find those cold water fish, the trout, the chain pickerel, the muskie and pike if they're stocked, things like that you can always get your hands on. So bear with us during the transition period. It won't be too much longer, guys. We'll be out in that hard water. Now, we're a couple weeks away yet from doing any serious ice fishing, but just stick to it. It'll get here. Take your time. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
December, the Fisherman Magazine's Dream Boat Fishing Challenge has come to a close, and one of our hard fishing subscribers is going to be driving away with a brand new Steiger craft. We've got some more work to do. Oh, what's going on? We've got more work to do with that in terms of checking everything and finalizing all the details. We're going to have more information on that out in a few weeks for the January edition. He did say hello, right? He said thank you. I think he said thank you. That'll be in the January edition, all that Dreamboat rundown. But I'll tell you what, we are at the holiday season right now. Happy Hanukkah, by the way, for folks who celebrate. Just started this week. But if you're looking for a holiday gift, for $29.95, you can get a subscription to the Fisherman Magazine. You get the 12 monthly issues, you get the digital access, and who knows, if that person on your list is a hard fishing subscriber, they could be driving away in a brand new Steiger craft themselves. Manasquan, Shark River, Raritan head boats. They're out there on the stripers while they're still biting their heads off. They'll also be adding some porgies to the mix with some of those black sea bass and tautog. But if you're heading from Barnegat south to Cape May and across to Lewes, pretty much not many porgies to speak of, but it's black sea bass and blackfish in the mix. So if you're tired of those Thanksgiving leftovers, they're probably gone by this point. If you haven't thrown away the rest, I suggest you might think about it. Well, why don't you load up the freezer with black sea bass before it closes at the end of this month? Get yourself out on a head boat, bring the family out there. Great opportunity to stand along the rail. Fabulous weekend activity for you and the kids to get out there and load up on the black sea bass. More westerlies in our forecast in the days ahead. More bunker from the north moving down. The action is turning on here in Long Beach Island. It's already turned on, so you don't want to miss that. And hopefully these bunker schools continue to stay in tight, moving down into Atlantic and Cape May County. Guys, I got my fingers crossed for you. Just remember, courtesy on the beach. Play nice with folks you're standing shoulder to shoulder next to. If somebody's unhooking a striped bass, don't jump in their spot. That's rude. These fish are on the move. They're all over the place, so play nicely. And also, pay attention to what that guy's fishing next to you. If you're not catching, look at what he's using. Yo, what are you throwing, buddy?
Tsunami swim shad.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.